It's happened to every paper crafter. A beautiful project ruined. Not from a lack of skills or effort, but from using the wrong glue. With so many on the market, how do you know which ones to use for which projects? I've just done what any crafty girl would do in a situation like this. I bought every glue I could find to test them, so you don't have to. This is the Great Glue Test. 14 glues, 8 very specific tests, and 1 winner. Let's find the best and worst glue for paper crafters. Hello creative friends, I hope you're all as excited for this as I am. Let me show you the 14 glues I've found and let the Great Glue Test begin. First up is Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. This is a high concentration PVA glue that's especially formulated for paper crafting. It costs around $10 and is my current glue of choice, so I'll be using it as the control for all of the tests today. Now, in addition to the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, I am currently using My Sweet Petunia's glue press. This is a glue press that's designed to be used with this glue, but you can use other glues with it as well. So this is my current control setup and what I'm using all of the time to glue all kinds of papercraft projects. Next up is the Tombow Mono Multi. This is a low viscosity water-based glue that's pretty popular with card makers and in the scrapbooking world and costs around $20. This one does have 2 tips, a pen tip and a broad tip. It is a pretty popular choice, so I'm excited to see how this one goes. Glue number 3 is Art Glitter Glue. This is a flexible polymer adhesive that dries completely clear and is often recommended for tricky surfaces. It costs $13 and is said to be one of the strongest glues that we'll test today. Next up is Eileen's Original Tacky Glue. Eileen's? This is a thick PVA glue and another very popular choice amongst paper crafters. The package even says America's favorite. This next glue is another personal favorite of mine. This is the Scotch Tacky Glue. This is another PVA based option and a little thinner than the Eileen's, and it costs around $15 a bottle. Next up, I wanted to test 2 different glue sticks. So I have the Avery glue stick at $8 and then the Scotch 3M wrinkle-free glue stick at $9. So obviously both of these are solid glue sticks, which means less moisture and hopefully, theoretically, a lot less wrinkling. I have never really used glue sticks in my crafting, and I do know that they are quite popular. So I am excited to see how these will go. Glue number 8 is the Elmer's School Glue, and this is one of our more budget-friendly options. It comes in at just $7 and is the most budget-friendly option that I'll be testing today. Glue number 9 is the Elmer's acid-free craft glue. This is a PVA glue that is especially formulated to be archival safe. It costs around $12 and is a very popular choice for scrapbookers in particular who are very concerned about the archivalness of their projects. Next up is this very tiny bottle of Montmartre PVA craft glue. This is a very budget-friendly option and is a pretty standard PVA glue. I'd consider this one a pretty entry-level glue, so it will be interesting to see how it compares to those higher quality, more expensive options. Glue number 11 is Mod Podge, and this one is actually a bit of a wild card in the test because technically it's an all-in-one sealer. So it's a glue and finish all in one bottle. So technically not a straight glue, and it's around $30. So it is one of the more expensive options. I really just wanted to add this in for curiosity, and I do know that lots of paper crafters use this. These next two glues, I've bought them in especially for the sequin and glitter cardstock tests. This first one is the Stickmaster silicone glue, a silicone-based adhesive that is especially designed for embellishments, costs around $7. And then there is the Beacons 3-in-1 glue. This is a solvent-based multi-surface adhesive and costs around $20. Both of these should do very well with our sequins and glitter cardstock. It will be interesting though to see what happens when we use them on paper. And last but absolutely not least, glue number 14 is the Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. This one is super popular, so I'm really hoping it lives up to its hype. It is a PVA based glue that comes with an ultra fine tip that is designed for the detailed work that a lot of paper crafters do. At $33, it is the most expensive glue of the day. So there is a lot of expectation here for this glue to live up to. It is, however, the one glue that I'm most excited to try. I did also want to show you exactly what comes with this glue because it is just more than glue in a bottle. This is more like a gluing system. So you get the bottle of glue, which I will say is quite small, 59 mils, and then the tips to go with it. So we have an ultra fine tip option, a fine tip, and a storage tip. I do like the idea of that. If you're not planning on using the glue for a little while, you can add the storage tip on. And then you also get a cleaning pin. So it does say clean tips after each use. So they all come in this little container here. And then it's just a matter of choosing your tip and then replacing the top of the bottle. So I am most interested in the ultra fine tip. And I feel like it is the tip that's most comparable to the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive that I'm currently using in the My Sweet Petunia glue press. So this just screws on like so. That was simple. And then this just screws on like so. So then I'm guessing when you're finished using the glue, you would take this off and then you would pop your storage tip on. The Barely Art Precision Glue is one of 10 acid-free glues I'll be testing today. And if archivalness really matters to you, stick around. Stick around. Stick around? So bad. Because I'll be talking a lot more about that later on in the video. So there you have it, from $5 all the way up to $33. A mix of glue types, brands, and prices. Let's find out which of these glues deserves a spot in your craft room. So now I guess you're wondering, how will I know which glue is the best? Well, today I'm ranking them with what I'm calling my glued ranking system, because ranking things is fun. So here's what glued stands for. G is for gentle on paper, and it's the most important factor in the entire test. This covers everything from warping and buckling to whether the glue is acid-free or not, because if you're making projects you want to keep, that really matters. L is for look. The look once dried. Can you see it? Is it shiny? Is there any yellowing? What does the glue look like once it's dried on your project? U is for usability, and this is all about the bottle. How easy is it for you to get your glue from the bottle onto your project? E is for everywhere. Is the glue a true all-rounder? and can it be used on lots of different surfaces? And D is for dollars. Is it value for money? Each of the glues will be scored out of 5 for these 5 categories, meaning the best glue will be the one that has a score closest to 25. By the end of this video, you'll know which glue to reach for no matter what you're making, which ones are the best budget-friendly options, and the one glue I would never buy again. I have also created a free PDF for you, which I'll link in the description box below. It includes my quick reference glue guide, plus the complete glued results from today. So I am really curious, do you check if your supplies are acid-free? Does that really matter to you? And I need to know, what's your current favorite glue? Let me know in the comments. With all of that sorted, it's time to get testing. The very first test starts with something we all have in our craft rooms, and that's photocopy paper. I now have all of my glue at the ready, and I have 14 of these die cut tags. Now these are on just very inexpensive, smooth, thin cardstock, and I'm going to use one of these for each one of the glues that I'm testing. So this will not only set the test up and allow me to create samples for each of the glues, but it is also part 1 of the test because I am really keen to see how these glues perform with regular photocopy paper. This is very thin paper and it does absorb moisture quickly. So the wetter glues here are going to perform quite differently to the drier ones. So I will start with our control, the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. And I'm just going to pop it down the bottom, I think, like so. Next up, let's go mono liquid glue. This is coming out very runny and there's a lot with very, very little pressure. I could see it would be very easy to be heavy-handed with this glue. That's that one. I'm going to do art glitter glue next. This is very, very runny. I feel like this is another one that's going to be very easy to use too much of. What about this one? The Scotch Wrinkle-Free Glue Stick. Interesting. Let me use this as a little piece to protect my background. Okay. And we'll pop that one on the side here. We'll do this one next just to get the glue sticks done. Feels similar to the other one. Probably a bit stickier actually. It feels a bit tackier. Yeah, definitely a bit stickier. Let's do the Barely Art one next. Interesting to see how quickly this comes out. Okay, that is a very similar feel to the Nuvo in the glue press. Definitely the most similar of the glue that I've tried so far. Then the Montmartre PVA. I'm expecting this to be runny as well. Yeah, that is like very runny. See how there's so much more glue that's come out of that? There's a lot of moisture in that. The Helma Acid Free. Oh, okay. So this is very, very hard to control how much comes out. And now that's going to ooze everywhere. Oh my goodness. What a mess. I hate that already. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a lot of glue coming out of that tip, even with the smallest amount of pressure. Okay, Eileen's. Let's see this one. This nozzle looks a little more user-friendly. Oh yes, that's nice. This one seems a little more stringy. Is it stringy is the word? There's little strings on it as you use the glue than any of the others. It is a tacky glue. So in a lot of ways, it should perform similar to the Scotch tacky glue. Let's do that one next. I never found that to be a problem when I used it. Oh, this nozzle's not too bad. I like too that it's clear so I could kind of see where the glue was. So that's that one. Let's do Elmer's school glue next. And then that will leave us with our random glues, the silicone ones and the Mod Podge. Okay, not bad. This tip, hands down, is so much better than this one. Elmer's can go there. And then Mod Podge. That bottle is also very hard to use. It was so hard to see where the glue was coming out of the bottle, and I did get way more than I needed. So now I have glue all over my page. This is the Beacons 3-in-1, and it's a lovely precision tip. I'm already starting to think that this test isn't just about the glue itself, but also about the packaging and the bottle that it comes in, because that really does change the experience of using the glue. So this is the Stickmaster silicone glue. So let me have a look. What's standing out? The things that are standing out are Mod Podge is all messy because I got too much glue and it's got like a shine. I guess it's that finish that it has. So that's already very messy. I don't like that. A lot of them, the PVA glues, do seem to be like quite wet. So there is some like ever so slight warping of the paper. So rather than it sitting totally flat, I don't know if you could tell, but the edges are up a little bit. And that is because of the moisture in the glue. Let's have a look at the Scotch Wrinkle Free. So if you compare the Nuvo Deluxe, which is a PVA based, with the Scotch Wrinkle Free glue stick, you'll see this paper is a lot flatter. Do you know what? It's not perfect, but I do think there is less moisture there and there is less curving. All the others, look at this one. Look how warped that is. Can you see? That is like really warped. That is like mountainous. Okay, I might be being a little bit dramatic, but I hope you can see that. Let me show you the edge of this paper here compared to this. I hope you can see that. In real life, it's very, very obvious how warped that page is from the wetness of that glue. Partly possibly because I put too much on, but that's how much the container gave me. So I'm already not a big fan of this one. Sorry, Helma. It's now time to test the most popular paper surfaces in our craft rooms. So these are the next 3 materials I would like to try. This is regular cardstock, a standard cardstock that I use all the time for scrapbooking and card making. This is the paper that they use to make dress patterns with. It is super light and super delicate, and I know that it's not going to go well with the glues that have a really high moisture. I also have vellum, and we all know that glue and vellum are not friends. So this will be a really good test of just how wet a glue is, because I think it's going to show up really, really well on the vellum. Some of these glues are not going to handle this very well at all. So I'm going to do all 3 at once just to sort of speed things along here. And I've got to start with Nuvo because that's our control. So for this, generally speaking, I would just add a couple of dots. I just love the control. Look how little I'm able to add to that. And then we'll add a butterfly. And I'll just put the butterfly in the center, the glue in the center, because I do want to lift up its wings a little bit. I'll put that there. We might as well make it look a little bit pretty. I think for the vellum, I'll just put the glue down the center. Let's see if that glue disappears or whether we can really see it behind that vellum. So that's that. Let's do the Montmartre PVA. And I do have to try and remember how quickly the glue comes out of each bottle because they're all different. That's our butterfly. And then down the center for the heart. Oh, I was a little heavy-handed there. That's okay. I will say that's kind of disappeared, but look already, the wetness in the glue has lifted up the edges of the vellum. See that curvature there? That is just from the moisture in the glue. This is the Nuvo, even when I was heavy-handed with it. See how that's flat? I hope you can tell. The heart, the vellum heart there is relatively flat. This one, look at it now. That's just because of the moisture. The moisture in that glue has curled the vellum. Let's try the Avery glue stick. I think this is actually going to do a lovely job of this soft, delicate paper. Okay, then we have the butterfly. I think this might do a nice job of the vellum as well, actually. And the vellum. My biggest concern with the glue sticks is actually how well they stay glued. So when I come back to these tomorrow and just check whether they're really, really stuck, I am going to be very keen to see how the glue sticks perform. Time for the Elmer's school glue. It's actually a very rainy day here. I hope you can't hear the rain too much. Kind of adds to the test though with all the moisture in the air. And then the cardstock. Actually don't mind this, crazy. Oh, okay, so that was a bit oozy. I'm not sure this is going to go well. Let's see if the same thing happens a little bit. See how that's happening a little bit there? Possibly not quite as bad as the, what was it, the Montmartre, but definitely warping happening there with the vellum. Time for the art glitter glue. This was very runny from memory. Yeah, very runny. I'm putting the smallest amount ever. So I'm going to make sure I don't put very much here. I'm not sure if you can see just how runny that is. It's a very liquidy glue, this one. I think this might not go well. I didn't mean to over glue that. It just, so much came out. While I wait to see if that curls, which it is already, I'll do the Tombow Mono. Oops. This one, that's right. There's a lot of glue that comes out of this one as well. It's funny too, I taught a lot of classes and a lot of the ladies used this one, and I always thought that their projects were very gluey. There was a lot of glue oozing out of their cut files and such. And I think it's that glue. I think it's just that it's a little bit runny for me. And I find that the runnier glues are just so much harder to control. Let's see how this goes. So back to the art glitter, and you can see that's very, very warped. That love heart has come up quite a lot. I have a feeling the same thing's going to happen with the Tombow Mono. Let's do Eileen's next. This one's not very wet at all, so I think it's going to do very well too. And then the butterfly. See how it just doesn't just come running out of the bottle? I think this will do better too. The only thing I think is interesting is that it's stringy. So instead of having 3 separate dots here, see how there's string in between those two there? I didn't intend on doing that. That's just how that applied out of the bottle. This is done better than I thought. You can see the glue, but it's not nearly as warped as some of the others have been. I think this one's going to do okay as well. A little bit of warping. This is the Scotch Tacky Glue, and I'm expecting it to perform very similarly to the Eileen's. Oops, which I realized I haven't put the lid on, so I need to sort that in a sec. Let's put that here. Trying to make it look pretty. Let's do the Helmers. I'm going to try extra hard not to get a ton of this glue. Oh, it's just pouring out of the bottle. I think I did a better job of that this time. Very hard to control. I feel like I'm picking on this one a bit, but it's very different to the others. I'm not sure if you can tell, but when I've added glue on all of the other soft sewing paper here and all of the others actually, there's not been a lot of wrinkling. This one, there's a little bit, but all of the others, even this one, which is the glue stick, which has glue over the entire thing, there's not a lot of wrinkles, maybe a little bit down the bottom here. This one though, there's a lot. There's a lot of wrinkling, and you can tell that there's sort of so much moisture behind there. I really hope this shows up on camera because this is very, very different. So interesting. Look at the art glitter glue adhesive. I don't know if I showed you that, but that heart is very warped. Having to press that down again. These are okay. Let's do this other glue stick. I think it's going to do very well. I think the glue stick's made for this sort of soft tissue type paper. And then a butterfly. And a heart. Here's the Barely Art. I have a lot of control over where I want the glue to go. And I can apply the tiniest amount ever, or then a bigger amount as well. I think the benefit too with those that have the smallest amount ever is you could do just like a tiny little bit, and then you probably wouldn't see the glue from behind the vellum. I'm going to do a similar amount to all the others just so we're comparing things a little bit evenly. So now all that's left is the Mod Podge and the silicone glues. So the glues that kind of aren't quite the same as the others. The Mod Podge, I think this is the better way to do it. I think it's sort of designed to be applied with maybe a brush. Yeah, this feels messy to me. This might be okay though. I think it might do a good job on the vellum, maybe. There is bubbling and warping on the sewing paper, and of course there's this messiness that I created when I used the photocopy paper. 2 more to go, and those are our silicone glues. So Stickmaster, oh, messy and very stringy. And there's the vellum. Yeah, very stringy, that one. Kind of expected, I think, with the glue. This one will be stringy as well. I actually much prefer this bottle to this one. This is stringy as well. Okay, so that's those tests done. The worst for the warping on the vellum was the Elmer's and the Montmartre PVA, but also, surprisingly, the Art Glitter Adhesive. I'm not a fan of that on vellum at all. I just realized I didn't add the vellum for the Helmer, and I really want to see that because I don't think it's going to go well. Let's give that a minute too, because yeah, I'll be very surprised if that doesn't warp. In terms of the sewing paper, I think the Art Glitter did not do super well. The silicone glues did well, actually. This Eileen's Tacky Glue did very well. Actually, for all of those. I think my least favourite is the Art Glitter. This did not curl as much as I thought it would. It absolutely has curled, but not like those other ones. So that's good. If this video has helped you choose the right glue for you, then press subscribe like a sticker to a scrapbook. It's a super practical way to help me make more videos like this. So whilst the paper tests are now complete, that's really the bare minimum for a good craft glue. This is where I take things up a level. Every surface in this next round of tests has something that makes it difficult to stick. So onward we go. I have my glitter cardstock cut into butterfly shapes. I have some rather large sequins here, and then some acetate and little pieces of a cut file that I have cut up so that we can add those and see if we get any oozing around the design. And that will make up our 7 tests. So let's start with the Helmer and a butterfly. Oh, actually I forgot. I need to glue this glitter side down, because what I'm testing here is if the glue will hold glitter. And what I'll do is I'll add it to make sure that it's directly on the tag, so not on this soft paper. I'll add it directly on the tag and we will see how that goes. Sequin time. It's very oozy. I do not have high hopes for the cut file here at all. I'm trying to use the smallest amount possible. That's not bad actually. And then acetate. Here's an acetate heart. My punch decided to give in halfway through punching them. So some of them are hearts and some of them are squares. There we go. So that's the first one done, Helmer. I did forget about our control, the Nuvo. So let's do that next. Glitter butterfly, sequin, acetate, heart, and cut file. Scotch tacky glue next, butterfly, glitter side down, sequin, and cut file. And then we need a piece of acetate as well. So there's that one. Let's do the Tombow Mono next. I keep on forgetting how quickly that runs out of there. It's crazy. Sequin, acetate, and I'll try and add the tiniest amount for our cut file. Sorted. Let's do the Eileen's Tacky Glue next. Butterfly, acetate, sequin, cut file. Montmartre PVA, butterfly, acetate, sequin, cut file. Bit oozy, that one. Next up, the Art Glitter Glue. That's right, this one's runny. Very runny. Acetate. Gonna have to be very careful here to stop any oozing. And then a sequin. Then we have the Elmer's School Glue. Let's do that next. Acetate. Is that gonna want to stick? It kind of wants to come up. Sequin and cut file. That wants to keep coming up, I think. It's not liking that glitter. Okay, let's do the glue sticks next. So this is the Scotch. Oh, wrong side. Silly me. We want this side. I do not know how it's going to go with this acetate. I don't think it will stick at all, actually. So that's that. Same with the sequin. If that stays stuck, I'll be very surprised. And then the cut file. Then the Avery one. Do the correct side of the butterfly this time. Sequin, acetate, and cut file. I think the glue sticks are messy. I just got so much glue everywhere then. So we have 4 left. The Barely Art is the last of the regular glues. So let's do it. Very easy to use, that one. Okay, and now we just have the Mod Podge and the 2 silicone ones. Let's do the Mod Podge next. I'm gonna go straight from the bottle again because last time that was messy. A sequin. That is a hot mess. And this is gonna be terrible too. I think you'd need a brush or you have to use your finger, and I don't like doing either of those things. Look at that sequin. It is swimming in glue. Stickmaster. Very stringy, that's right. I remember now. And this, I think these 2 silicone glues are going to be made for the sequin. Glitter cardstock. I think the glitter cardstock's going to do very well with these style glues as well. Just that stringiness, that's a bit of a bother. Interesting. It doesn't seem to want to hold the glitter. So that is all the gluing done now, and I will leave these for a full 24 hours just to give them a proper chance to dry fully, and then I'll have a look at the results. So yes, the 8 glue tests are now complete, but I'm not quite finished yet. Before I hand out the final glued scores and determine the ultimate winner and worst glue ever, there's one more thing we need to talk about, especially if you're making projects you want to keep for a very long time. One of the biggest factors for whether a glue is great for paper crafting is its archivalness. If you're a memory keeper and making projects you really want to last, using an acid-free glue is especially important. Gluing things like photos and scrapbook pages, these need to be protected from the acid in glue that can damage paper over time. These are the glues that I was able to confirm are acid-free. And these ones, I would be much more careful about using these on my precious projects. So now it's the next day, and here are my fully dried glue samples. I have popped them onto a jump ring, and now is the perfect time to go through and analyze them using my glued ranking system. The very first letter in my glued ranking system is G, which happens to be my favorite letter. But in this case, it stands for gentle. How gentle is the glue on the paper? So what I'm looking for here particularly is warping. And if I turn my samples to the side, there are a couple that stand out. So I think definitely this one. And then this one. This one as well, and maybe this one. I think the rest are pretty good. Maybe this one. I want to check the other side, and look, we've had a sequin fall off. So we'll address that in a little moment. From the other side, definitely this one. I think this one as well. So here are the samples that have the least amount of warping and therefore are the gentlest on paper. We have Beacon's 3-in-1, Stickmaster Silicone, Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, our control, Scotch Tacky Glue, Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, the Avery Glue Stick, and our Scotch Wrinkle Free Glue Stick. So they will all get bonus points under the gentleness category. So these are the samples that did the worst in terms of warping. And I think that's actually a really good shot. You can see just how layered and warped each of those papers are. Definitely a standout bad performer for me was the Helma Professional Acid-Free Glue. That page is very, very warped. So too is the Montmartre PVA glue and the Elmer's School glue. The others are kind of a little bit better. The Mod Podge one is also particularly bad. I think the one that did the best out of the worst of these would be the Eileen's, maybe followed by the Art Glitter, then the Tombow Mono. In terms of acid freeness, what I will do in my rankings is every glue that is indeed acid free will get an extra point, and those that are not will not. So the next item on the glued ranking system is L, and that is the look once dry. So I'm particularly looking here for any of the glue that has oozed out behind a die cut, and of course the glue under the acetate and vellum pieces. So Beacons 3 and 1 doesn't look like anything special. It's quite unremarkable. Actually, comparing it to the Stickmaster silicone glue, I feel like it has dried a little bit cloudy behind the acetate, but it is almost invisible behind the vellum. The Stickmaster is a little bit more visible behind the vellum, but it's probably clearer behind the acetate there. It is quite shiny and messy in the sections that have oozed out, which I'm not a big fan of. Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, almost invisible under the vellum. Very nice actually under that vellum. Acetate is slightly cloudy, and yes, a little bit of oozing behind the butterfly there. It is probably less shiny than some of the others I've already seen. Scotch Tacky Glue, the acetate is quite cloudy, probably a lot more cloudy than the Nuvo, I would say. Actually, they're pretty similar. Let's compare it to... Compared to the Stickmaster is very, very clear, actually. Much clearer than the PVA style glues. Ooh, Tombow Mono is a standout in the wrong way. This is very, very yellow compared to the other samples, and it's actually quite yellow even behind the butterfly there. Not a fan of that one at all. It's actually yellowed here behind the vellum as well. Next up is Eileen's, very cloudy behind the acetate, almost invisible behind the vellum, not too bad there. Helma's is also cloudy behind the acetate, but it seems quite similar to some of these other PVAs. Yeah, that feels very similar to the Nuvo and the Scotch Quick Dry in terms of that. Then we have the Montmartre PVA, and it doesn't look good. It's cloudy, but it also just looks weird. Same with the vellum. It's way too wet for that vellum. It's not done a good job there. It is very white though. There's no yellowness to that whatsoever. The Elmer's School Glue does look similar to the Montmartre, and this is the owner of our sequin that didn't make it, did not stay stuck. Then we have Barely Art, cloudy behind the acetate, very nice behind the vellum, and nice behind the butterfly there as well. Art Glitter, cloudy on the acetate, no yellowing. The Avery glue stick is actually quite good behind the vellum. You can almost not see it, but the acetate does look a little bit weird. The Scotch glue stick is identical to the Avery glue stick. And interestingly, this was the one that I glued the top of the butterfly first by accident. And I have noticed, you can see that glue quite badly there. And it is also sticking. So in my pile here, even though it has been a full 24 hours, there is some stickiness to it. So I'm not a big fan of that. And then lucky last is Mod Podge. A little bit of clouding, a little bit of shine. Quite nice behind the vellum though, actually. The very worst performer, I think, in this category, by quite a lot actually, is the Tombow Mono. Because of that yellowing, It does not look nice at all. Even in the middle of the sequin, you can see it's yellowed. So this is not a glue that I would choose. The next section in the glued ranking system is U for usability. So I need to bring back our glue bottles for that. So here they all are, and I think I am just going to split these into two categories. The ones I like and the ones I don't. So I will go obviously with my Nuvo. I do love this system very, very much. I loved the Barely Art bottle. I did quite like the Eileen's bottle. This nozzle is actually quite nice to work with. I like too that it is designed to stay up this way. So as the bottle empties, you will have your glue at the bottom. None of the other bottles are designed that way, and it is a definite plus for me. So that's those. I also did not mind this. I think that this bottle tip wasn't too bad. And I think that's it. This one wasn't too bad either, actually. I did not like the Helmer's bottle at all. I feel like these two are very standard bottles, but nothing exciting or helpful. This one was so promising, and I really did think that the pen tip would be a pro, but I did not like that at all. The glue sticks I think were messy. Mod Podge was really, really messy. These two here were probably in the middle. So I'm going to rank them like so. These are all my favorites. These ones are okay. And then these ones are the least okay. These two here are my least favorite. The next letter in the glued ranking system is E for everywhere. How well does the glue work on a range of surfaces? And the big test here will be the sequin and this shiny acetate piece. I am going to be quite gentle with it, but I do want to see how strong that glue bond is. That feels pretty good. And then this one, that also feels pretty good. So I'm going to try and apply the same amount of pressure across all of the samples. That is very stuck. So is that one. That is very stuck, and so is that one. Very stuck. Also very stuck. That one came off very, very easily. So that is the Eileen's Original Tacky Glue. I'm just going to put an X here so that I know that I'm missing an embellishment. Let's try the sequin. Okay, I feel like the sequins stuck a lot better than the acetate. Interesting. Oh, yep, this one's lifting off super easy as well. It is the Helmer. Let's try the sequin. It's also a problem. We now have Montmartre PVA. That's good. And the Elmer's School Glue. This is the one that we've already lost our sequin. The acetate is good. So we just need one little cross there for that. Barely Art. Oh, very secure. Excellent. Art Glitter. This one is the glue stick, so let's see. That is so much better than I expected. I'm really surprised by that, actually. That is excellent. Sequin, no. Sequin's a big no. But the acetate is a yes. Here's our Scotch wrinkle-free stick. It's lifting a little, but it's staying put. Let's see the sequin. That's a no as well. And then lucky last is the Mod Podge. That's a very easy no. But the sequin looks good. So I do think the easiest way to reflect these results in the ranking system is to deduct 1 point for each of the materials that the glue wasn't able to glue. So most of these will get 5 out of 5, some will get a 4 out of 5, and it was one, wasn't it, that could not do acetate or a sequin, so that one will get 3 out of 5. So the very last category in the glued ranking system is D for dollars, and all I've done for that is broken the cost of the glue into 3 groups. So less than $10 will get 5 out of 5. Between $10 and $15 will get 4 out of 5. And for the glues that cost $15 or more, they will get a 3 out of 5. All that's left to do now is to add all of these results onto my ranking chart. Okay, so the glued results are officially now in. The overall best performing glue is actually a tie. 2 glues scored 22 out of 25 points, and they were the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive and the Barely Art Precision Glue. I didn't think the results would be this close. For me, price really matters, so I am going to award the overall winner to Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. This glue is half the price of the Barely Art Precision Glue, and if I can get a very, very similar glue at half the price, of course I'm going to buy that one. The best budget pick is Elmer's School Glue. This glue achieved exceptional results at a really budget-friendly price. My personal favorite is the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. I've been using this glue for the longest time, and now I'm more confident than ever in recommending it. The most surprising results for me today actually came from the glue sticks. I'm sure the formulas have really improved and changed over time, and they both did a lot better than I was expecting. And the one glue I would never buy again, the Helmer's Acid Free, followed very closely by the Tombow Mono. Both were way too runny for me, and I did not like either of those bottles. The Tombow Mono too, the yellowingness of that once dry, not a fan. Ew. Using either of those 2 glues would drive me crazy. So now you know the very best and worst glues for paper crafting. But here's the thing, having the right supplies doesn't mean much if you're too overwhelmed to even use them. If you have fallen into the trap of thinking having more supplies means having more creative options, then watch this video next. True creative freedom actually comes from having less. Thank you so much for being here, my creative friend. I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye.